Done this flawlessly once before.
I'm recording. Aha!
Hey!
Welcome
one.
everyone. So this is take two. Welcome everyone to the second episode of Behind the Ads. I am Hugh Rees, and this is the Exposed Media team. We are bringing you the inside goss and what's happening in the agency from the last week, what we have been doing with our clients, what's working, what's not working, hopefully so you can get some tips and tricks that you can then apply to your paid media campaigns and scale, make some money, and hopefully do better. We just did a bit of a dry run, and apparently I was meant to be recording it, but I didn't. So now we get to do it all again, and this time it's going to be much better for everyone. So everyone gets a benefit of that. Isn't that right, everyone? In case you haven't noticed as well, we're right in the middle of COVID, work from home, ISO situations. So there's some pretty cool backgrounds going on. We want to play a little game, maybe spot the thing in the background. We might run a bit of a poll after this, or a bit of a competition to see if we can pick the winners from the awkward stuff we have in our rooms. Not going to name names, but you know, there you go. Yeah, that's right, Josh. No worries at all. So guys, what's been happening this week? Like, Tom, what's been going on? Apparently you've got some stuff around testing and scaling that you want to talk about.
Yeah, so kind of in light of a few chats with Facebook reps, have reversed the migration to campaign budget optimization, CBO.
That's a good thing.
So it's kind of been the last couple of weeks, or last week in particular, going back to basics with utilizing ad set budgets. Been finding results, especially at top of funnel, so cold audiences, to be more stable, easier to scale, less volatile in terms of spending.
Tom,
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there. So what you're saying is that you're thinking that ABO is way better than CBOs.
I would say that, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I would actually have to agree with you 100%. I've been seeing it myself in the ad accounts I've been involved with over the last 2 months. ABOs are way outperforming CBOs, and a lot of our stuff has been pulled out of CBOs now into ABOs, and we're getting much greater scale and performance out of it as well, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Are you guys both finding that across your remarketing as well as top of funnel?
Yeah, so I've always thought, and I'll be honest here, I've always hated using CBO for my remarketing.
Yeah, I know.
It's just been shite. Yeah, well, ad account structures, naming conventions. Yeah, we'll get to that. So the reason why I hate it is because you've had no control over how it spends the money. So if you've got, several remarketing audiences into one CBO campaign, we're finding that Facebook, obviously with the algorithm and the way the breakdown effect works, is that it will feed money to what it thinks is going to get sales, rather than trying to evenly distribute the money across the ad sets. But that's just been me. And what do you reckon, Tom? What have you been saying?
Again, it just depends on a count basis. Like how big your retargeting audiences are, how you're breaking them down, like where they're coming from, the time lengths. Like, so you did like retargeting 7 days versus 30 days. Obviously 30 days is going to be a massive audience compared to a 1 day audience. So yeah, it just depends. Typically I still use CBO as retargeting. If I can try and keep the audience sizes around the same, anything sort of over 30 days, so 30 to 180 days, I've been bundling up and using in an ABO. So it's just been a mix really.
ABO tends to, I don't know if this is across the board, but I feel like it tends to work a lot better when your product price is quite low and you see results quite quickly, and you have the kind of ability to shift and change really quickly. Whereas when your CPAs are on that higher end, like one of my clients there, a good CPA is $150 to $200, where you're spending quite a bit of money first, and so the retargeting CBO tends to do a bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Sounds like I need to bring back some ABO into my account.
Yes, Georgia, ABOs. But you've got some pretty cool stuff you've been doing this last week on engagement building. What's that all about?
Well, I guess like overall, you could call it like a hot tip for how to test new ads before. Normally, I would say like a cold audience top of funnel ad. So what I've been doing is making campaigns in pretty much all of my e-commerce accounts now that are like a bulk retargeting campaign that's got your email list, customer list, all your middle of funnel audiences, but I'll extend them back to 90 days. I found that 90 days seems to be about the sweet spot. And then I'll put all of the new ads that I want to test to go to top of funnel within that audience and give the people that are familiar with the brand the opportunity to put some comments on them, likes on them, share the ads, get some traction on the ads while also getting purchases, rather than going down the PPE route where you get some engagement, but you're not going to get much conversion out of it as well.
Yep.
And an example from last week that went really well was I had 6 new ads of a particular product that I wanted to trial for a superfood client of mine. And by the end of the week, that audience had finished on 12.5x and had got 90 sales. And that's without taking away from any of the other middle of funnel or past purchase campaigns. So it's super exciting stuff. It really boosts the campaigns when you put the ads in there.
Yep. So are you thinking that the engagement that you're getting from those warmer audiences and even repeat purchase stuff is actually what's giving you that added boost?
Definitely, yeah. Especially because it's people familiar with the brand. So a lot of the comments and likes are really positive. So when you move those ads into your top of funnel, it's got things like, oh my God, I love this brand. I can't wait to try this product. Or they're tagging their friends saying, you must try this. Like maybe it's someone who's already purchased that product before, but they're still going to fall within that retargeting stack.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool stuff. And then I found as well, when I moved them to top of funnel, they're generally become the best performing ads within the week.
Yeah, just from that engagement piece. I
Yeah.
suppose you're feeding the algorithm there, potentially giving you that engagement piece, because obviously it wants to feed ads to people who like to comment and engage with other comments on those ads. So makes sense to me.
Definitely. And I think as well, like, even though I guess it goes against the rules of like trying to not get your audiences to compete with each other, because those ads are meant to be for cold audiences, they're different to the ads within the retargeting stack, like this separate middle of funnel that runs all the time. Mm-hmm. So I find they don't really compete at all. It actually, if anything, boosts both of the campaigns.
And Georgia, it might even be one of those things where, because you're extending that retargeting, they're almost becoming a second top of funnel.
Yeah.
And you're hitting them with ads designed to draw their interest again and bring them back. So that might be one of the reasons why it's doing so well.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess it's like a win-win, because say if I only run that like engagement building campaign for a week and then turn it off, those people who maybe were in like the 80 to 90 day stack are now back in my normal middle of funnel retargeting. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been using it for all my clients, and I think it's something everyone should at least try and see if it works for them as well.
Great tips. I love that. Josh, mate, you say you've got something a bit boring, so that's a bit of a change since George's exciting sales.
Yeah, I just thought I'd switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. What's going on with you, man?
Yeah, so I've spent the last week kind of head stuck into Excel, looking at restructuring some of the ways that we do naming conventions for our ad sets and ads, and putting in and really kind of honing out the ways and the different things that we're testing in ad sets and ads. And then from there, pulling out data and pulling out specifics, matching them up, and just looking at what audiences have been performing for some of our clients over a longer period of time. And then within those, what ads do well, what hooks do well, what copy variations, headlines do well. And it's pretty awesome. I've just sort of finished running the numbers for one of my clients. And we're about to kind of push forward next week with a whole brand new campaign. And what we're going to be able to do is I've found kind of 3 or 4 audiences now, and I know exactly what style we need to be writing ads in now as well. I know the hooks that are going to work for them, long copy, which is something that we've been testing for a while, and we've seen mixed success in different ad sets. But when all the data is being pulled out and we look at it from like a really macro level, long copy has been the one for them. So that's something really interesting that going into the ad account, you might see different success day to day. But with all the data pulled out, that's a clear winner. So
That's
so,
cool.
so it's allowing you to sort of structure your test plans as well and pull that data out so you can essentially make better decisions.
Yeah,
in your ad
yeah,
account. Okay.
definitely.
Did you find that anything, obviously being so deep in data for an account, did you find anything that was really surprising to you in terms of, you know, what you were expecting?
I mean, it's the bane of any kind of digital marketer. One of our best audiences was our broad audience. It just far and beyond anything. Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's saying that we, as marketers, we just press the button to go broad and then just step away and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it's like
hands off. Yeah.
isn't that how Google works? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the ones that with a specific, and again, not with all styles of copy or all hooks, but with a certain variation of hooks and copy, bang, that's the one. So yeah.
I guess in an agency as well, like it's something that is really important because like we can look at each other's accounts and without something that's streamlined, you can have no idea what's going on. Like if someone goes away for a week, it's really hard to know what's happening. so
naming
that little
conventions.
bit of extra time saves time. in the long run, I guess.
And I can see this saving kind of weeks of
Yeah.
time in a long run.
Which has benefit for us, but also has benefit for the client because the client can see
Definitely.
all the reporting as well and see the data and what's actually happening rather than just an overall, which is cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Good work, man. Good work.
Yeah.
So
So
rolling out for everyone now. I like it.
rolling out for everyone. Actually, that would be my hot tip. Do it for your smallest client first, or your smallest ad account first, or do it on a smaller scale to begin with. Get the functionality working before you try to roll it out for anything too big.
I love it. Cool. Christy, I'm looking at you. So you've been dabbling in e-commerce the last week, haven't you? You're going to the dark side.
Don't tell anyone. It's my secret shame.
Yeah.
I'm lead gen for life. Lead gen.
Well,
you know, I like to dabble. I like to play around a little bit.
What's been going on in e-commerce? Is it better? Is e-com better or the lead gen better? What's the?
Oh, look.
Raise your hands.
They're both. You know, you can love them both equally. I don't have any favorite children. That's not true. So what I found, the last couple of weeks, you know, obviously lead gen had slowed down, like with all of the COVID stuff that was going on. So I got thrown into looking at a few of our e-commerce accounts, which was a trial by fire and a lot of fun. So that was really interesting. But one of the things that I think was a tip that you gave me, Hugh, was to have a look to have a look at what your best performing creative is inside inside your campaigns. Keep that running inside that one, and then take out whatever was underperforming or had only a small amount of budget, but was still kind of getting good soft stats. Take that, put it into its own ad sets and its own campaigns so that you could actually have a little bit less of creative burnout. So for me, with lead gen, a lot of the clients find that they really struggle because they're all small business owners and they're running and doing different things. Burnout is a real problem. And I'm sure everyone, like even the big e-commerce accounts that we've got, also feel the same kind of pain. So I was finding that I'm getting like one or two ads that are really overperforming, taking the lion's share of my budget from my campaigns. And I'm getting like these kind of dribs and drabs from these other little kind of creative, little bits of creative that I've got. So I'm keeping my good creative, keeping it inside the campaign, taking out the other ones and putting them into other campaigns to try to be able to catch some of those other buckets of people that we've talked about. So keeping the same sort of ad sets, keeping the same kind of interest stuff going. And it's also just helping me to kind of get the frequency down of being in front of people and different things, putting the different creative in front of, kind of going out there. So that was a really interesting thing that I've now kind of pulled across from the e-commerce stuff, and I'm playing around with the lead gen stuff because we do have quite tiny audiences by comparison to some of our bigger clients. So we need to find ways to keep that creative fresh and keep people excited and interested in kind of what we're offering. So any like creative burnout that we were feeling is getting a little less painful. So it's been really fun. So it's nice to kind of pull some of those e-commerce kind of concepts across into lead gen. So.
I love it. So what you're saying is e-commerce is better.
Oh.
I
would say e-commerce is it's such a scary minefield. I don't know how you guys play in the e-commerce space all day. It scares the poop out of me.
It's fun. It's fun.
So, but yeah, I loves me a lead gen. Like I love it. I love an email and a phone.
We still get that on e-commerce. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We just get the credit card details as well.
Oh, that's right. We get money assigned to it straight away. None of us calling them and trying to close a deal.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, speaking of things, good versus evil, James, what's happening in Google?
Am I the good or evil? Is Google the good or evil? What's happening here?
I don't know. Let's let the audience figure that one out. How's Google going this week, man? I hear there's a bit of a interesting happening with the ads being ads inventory being cut off.
Google's been a little bit more evil this week, unfortunately. In this particular case, I went to put together some new ads yesterday in the style of display ads, only to discover that GIF style animation display ads have been officially cancelled as far as Google is concerned, and they're no longer an option.
Gone.
Absolutely gone.
Just overnight, just went bye.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a look around online. I couldn't find a blog. I couldn't find any form of documentation. I couldn't find an announcement. I couldn't find anything to reference the fact that this change was going to happen from the last 6 months. Very frustrating situation, but it has presented a bit of an interesting situation because we do now have kind of a different focus, and that's going to be more of HTML5 display ads. They're probably going to become a bit more mainstream after a change like this, simply due to the fact that the options are a lot more limited now. Having either a static single frame display ad or a fully decked out HTML5 ad with animations and transitions and glowy things and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. I think we're probably going to see a really wide spread of quality when it comes to display now compared to what we did before. There's a few things that could be happening here. Either Google is probably trying to funnel more people into responsive display ads as they have kind of been with responsive search, or they're just kind of up the quality a little bit. I suspect either we'll see static display ads go away or we'll see HTML5 ads go away and go fully into responsive. There's a few different options there in terms of how this is going to play out long term. But one thing is for sure, we're going to see a bit of a shift over the next little while in terms of how display is handled and how it's used throughout the platform.
That's super interesting and weird at the same time.
Yeah, it's an interesting change, and obviously the fact that it's just come out of nowhere has left us a little bit blindsided. But we'll work around it and we'll figure out what the best way going forward is. I strongly suspect it'll be HTML5 just because they're so they've got a bit of a shine to them. They're a bit unique looking. So yeah, it'll be a little bit of extra setup when we first get things going, but I think ultimately it will probably be an increase in quality for across the board.
That's cool, man.
James, doesn't Google have like a platform or something to develop HTML5 stuff as well?
Yeah, definitely. So they've released a tool called Google's Web Designer, and it's essentially just a tool that you can use to kind of keyframe out transitions and stuff within HTML5 display ads. So it is a very simple tool by the looks of it, and it does look like it'll do the trick really nicely. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not that kind of effort and that additional learning is going to be worth the investment for a majority of advertisers versus just throwing together a quick display static image in Photoshop or Paint or whatever they want to use. So yeah,
I use Paint. I still use Paint.
And there'll be people out there using Paint for the display ads. I absolutely guarantee it.
I love it. That's cool. Oh, thanks for sharing, man. Awesome. Well, I suppose that wraps up our episode 2 Week in Review.
Hang on, Hugh. What did you learn?
What have I learned?
What hot tip have you got for us?
We're gonna put you on the spot.
Jeez, Georgia.
Have you got something?
I've always got stuff up my sleeve. So I'm really deep diving into trying to figure out the algorithm this week. It's my big deep learning. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Because obviously Facebook ad platform is an algorithm. It's an auction algorithm, right? So trying to figure out what the signals and how the algorithm works so we can then use it to the best of our ability. So there's some pretty cool stuff happening this week. And you touched on a bit, Georgia, with what your tip was in terms of the engagement. Trying to find out what the favorable signals are, and then feeding more of it that stuff so we can get cheaper reach, cheaper CPMs, etc., which is really cool. So that's one thing that I've been really deep diving on. The other one that I've noticed as well is that Facebook CPMs for video length. So I'm seeing that the longer the video, so like 2-minute videos, the higher the CPMs, whereas shorter length videos, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, the lower the CPMs. So I think that the algorithm is preferencing the shorter video to in the feed and on Instagram and Facebook feed. So that's my one little tip. So test that out for yourselves, because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Funny you say that, because I actually got a notification on Facebook about longer videos drive better engagement.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Was that the
from Facebook?
Minute? Yeah.
That's
I did
crazy.
get that. I think I got it around the same time that we were having that discussion about it, Hugh. And
Facebook's listening.
Yeah. But I mean, also, it wouldn't be the first time that they've come out and said, "Do this."
Yeah. It's funny, for Josh, one of our clients that you're working on essentially was seeing that really cheap video views for the longer videos. So for like 30-minute videos, we're getting like less than $1 video views, 100% of it. So it's interesting that both are true.
I don't know. I think that there's what was it? The last Facebook in-person thing that they did, and they told us that in-stream ads were the money makers.
They were loving in-stream.
I don't know.
Do you think it's a little bit too soon to say, Hugh, or do you think that possibly that higher investment for a longer video is going to be worth it in the long run in terms of what you're getting back from it?
Well, there's a bit of a debate going out that would you rather have a $1 page view or a $2 30-minute video view? For someone who spends 30 minutes with you watching a video, true. I'll take both of them. But one definitely. If you have someone who watches a video, I think that for 30 minutes of you being an authority in the space, showing your value, adding value, and showing your authority on it, I think that's probably much better investment than a cheap landing page view. Just my opinion. Nothing against lead gen. I think.
As long as you've got the right retargeting stacks to back that up, then that's it's always going to be better.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Good work, Georgia. We're going to throw Olivia on the bus now.
A little bit.
Keep him honest.
What's Olivia's tip?
Record Zoom meetings for the first time.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. We've gone probably a little bit over time, but a lot of good stuff there. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much for sharing your information, and we look forward to seeing you all on episode 3.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.